What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video, and oh boy, I know that this video is going to get a lot of dislikes because we're going to be breaking down the 5 agents to never play in patch 1.08, and these are going to be the top 5 worst agents in the game, and these agents are either going to be 1, situational, or 2, there's just a better option that you could be playing instead, and we're going to be breaking that all down in this video. But the GameLeap website has in-depth advanced Radiant tier VOD reviews on every agent in the game, so even if you want to master some of these agents or some of the top 5 best agents that we went over in a previous video, then go check it out in the GameLeap website and be well on your way to climbing to Immortal and beyond. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, the 5th character on the list, I'm not gonna lie, this character can be great on certain situations in certain maps, but is only gonna be kind of like a 5th placed honorable mention, and it's none other than Raze. And you're gonna be saying, whoa, Raze is actually pretty good. Well, yes and no, because Raze is very map dependent. You see, on the map Split, Raze is phenomenal. I mean, amazing. She has great tools to punish and take space, right? She has paint shells to throw in vents. She has her boom bot to ramp up and take space of Heaven, regardless of which Heaven very quickly. She could challenge ramps with it, or she could go and challenge the left side of Heaven, attacking through mid. There's a lot of different ways that she can use that, and then of course, her blast pack not only give her mobility, but it allows her to rotate far quicker, which is amazing on Split, and that's why she is one of the best characters you could play on Split. And on Bind, she's also pretty good. Now, the problem comes when you talk about the other 2 maps, Haven and Ascent. Haven, she's only mediocre, and Ascent, she's just straight up awful. And you might be saying, okay, why is Raze so bad on Ascent? Well, the problem is when you're trying to contest Oppers and you have Raze's kit, what does Raze's kit do when you're trying to contest along sightline? I mean, you could try to chuck your paint shells really far, but that's not gonna work. You can't use your mobility to just dodge LOS. You can't use your boom bot to get onto point if you're trying to contest a longer sideline. It just doesn't make sense to be playing Raze on those maps, and that is why Raze is extremely poor on Ascent. On top of that, Raze just got hurt in general by the fact that Sage is an extremely poor character right now. And Raze was the natural counter to Sage, capable of destroying her wall, harassing her, interrupting plants on Bind, and different maps like Haven. So all in all, I do think that Raze could be a great character to know how to play and play her on certain maps, but I definitely don't think that you could be one-tricking Raze in this patch. I think you're gonna have a hard time specifically on Haven and Ascent. Now moving on to the next agent to not play in this patch, and some of you might get triggered just hearing it, but it's the truth, and it's none other than Killjoy. Now, unfortunately for Killjoy, there's just really not a place for her. Ever since the Nanoswarm nerf, players aren't really just dying to Nanoswarms very easily, and if you're using consistent amounts of AoE damage, you're gonna be clearing off plant zones or diffuse zones, and you're never gonna die to her Nanoswarm. Now, her turret can get some value, but the problem is its information that it gathers is really easy to shut down, and it doesn't lead to successful retakes, and she can only gather information from realistically like 1 area, maybe 2, but the thing is, Cypher can just do everything that she does better. Now you might be saying, okay, if Cypher's better, does that mean we could just play Killjoy and Cypher? Well, you might think that, but the big problem is you're gonna be greatly lacking in offensive power. Like, let's imagine a perfect team composition in the meta right now. Something like Cypher and Sova, because double info is always meta. You add in one of the best smoke players right now in Omen, because you need that. Then you want an initiator or someone that can let you get in, someone like Phoenix or Breach, so that leads one of the spots. And then the last spot is probably Jet, because Jet is actually dominant right now in the hands of an op. Where does Killjoy fit into that? Who do you get rid of to put into Killjoy? And how much offensive power will you actually be lacking? You don't need both a Killjoy and a Cypher, and you would never want to be playing a Killjoy over a Cypher, so that is why she's number 4 on this list. Now moving into top 3 territory, and as such, the number 3rd character that you should not be playing, and you probably already know that she was going to be on this list, and it's none other than Reyna. And yes, Reyna can solo carry if you have the aim to basically use Reyna, right? If you have the aim, if you can frag out and you're just better than everyone in the lobby, you can kill everyone and hard carry on Reyna, right? You could kill, fade away, or get heal, kill, and just combo the hell off. But there are a ton of fundamental problems with Reyna that I'm gonna break down. The first thing is she doesn't help the team. And you might think, okay, well, if I'm just trying to solo carry, then who cares if I help the team? But against certain types of players or certain types of good players, you're not going to just be able to take 50-50 gunfights with them every single time, and you will actually have a better time playing a character that could set up an unfair engagement. And because of this, Reyna really doesn't scale that well into the higher ranks. Every single person, once you start to climb the ladder, will have a certain amount of mechanical skill, and you're not just going to be able to body them on Reyna, and eventually there's going to be certain things that Reyna can't do that another character could set up that would be far better. Essentially what I'm saying is, yes, Reyna can carry. Of course she can carry. Every character can carry with gunplay, but if you were like an insane Reyna, that will only get you so far. But if you're an insane Sova, an insane Cypher, an insane Jet, an insane Breach, you're gonna not only be hard carrying, but bringing so much to your team. You're gonna be able to win tons of team fights. Reyna just doesn't teach you to be a good team player, doesn't scale well into the higher ranks, doesn't even carry the hardest. There is a lot of reasons not to pick up Reyna, but sure, if you just want to frag or have some fun, Reyna's a great character to play, but she will never have a place in pro play in her current form, and realistically, you would do yourself a favor not maining her. Now, moving on to the next character, the top 2 character that you should not be playing in your games. The second worst character in the entire game is none other than Sage. Oh man, what did Riot do to my girl Sage? She fell from grace, going from the definitive best agent in the entire game at one point, all the way down to one of the worst too. That is actually tragic, but honestly, it's true. Sage is just fundamentally so easy to punish and has very little impact. Her heal is comically bad, especially her self heal, which basically took away an entire playstyle from Sage in that aggressive playstyle. I broke it down many times because Sentinel's player Sick actually did this a lot, where he would play a far more aggressive Sage after he exhausted his resources. But the problem with this nerf is it makes that style basically not usable. You can't play an aggressive Sage anymore because you have very, very poor self-sustain. You can't heal yourself very easily. And then on top of that, you're just worse at doing what she did in the past. So now she can't be aggressive. She's really bad at being defensive. She doesn't stall very well. I mean, Sage unfortunately just has no place in the meta in her current state. She's fundamentally way too weak, and I really think that Riot over nerfed her here. But that being said, what do you think in the comments down below? Do you think that Sage should just get buffed back to somehow a little bit how she used to be? Or do you think that they should just fundamentally redo her entire kit, rework her character, and make her something that is less problematic? Definitely let me know what you think the direction that Riot should take Sage is in the comments down below. Now move on to the last agent in the entire list, and this is really sad, but I have to pick one, and this is undoubtedly the worst agent period in the game right now, and it's none other than Viper. Now, Viper has been getting buff after buff. She can set up her toxic screen pre-round now. She can, of course, have her team sit in her ultimate and they don't take any damage. There's a lot of different things that you can do with Viper now, but the big problem is she fundamentally cannot take the place of a controller. I mean, think about the 2 controllers in the game, Brimstone and Omen, and these characters are absolutely necessary at least to have one of these on every single team composition. Because imagine you're pushing like on Haven, right? And you want to challenge A. What's the first thing that you do? What's the first thing that your smoke player always does? That's right, they always smoke off Heaven. But how do you do that on Viper? Well, hypothetically, you could throw it, but typically you would have to peek the angle, which submits you to op fire. And even if you don't peek the angle and you know some crazy rollout, it's very difficult to do. And then if you ever want to rotate off, you can't take that with you because you have to physically go retrieve it. So if you had to do that, imagine you smoke off Heaven and then you want to rotate off. Unlike Brimstone or Omen that could have just invested one smoke and baited out utility and then left later, Viper can't do that. So what I'm saying is Viper basically essentially didn't do the job that you needed to do as a controller. And if you can't do the job that you needed to do as a controller, you have to fit another spot. But who in a team composition would Viper replace? When I talked about the fundamental problem with Killjoy is that she was the worst Cypher and that she had no place when she really took away from the offensive power that you could have. But Viper is even worse than Killjoy in that regard. I mean, if you're thinking about a perfect team composition, there are so many picks that you would rather have before Viper. And if you want to run double smokes, you would way more likely run Brimstone and Omen like pro players are doing rather than playing a Viper at all. Every single thing that Viper does, some other character does better. She doesn't bring anything unique or powerful to a team composition, and really, she is the worst character right now in the entire game. Please, 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 Riot, please buff Viper, because we all love the character. We would love to see her played more, but she's just way too weak in her state right now. But definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think Riot should do to buff Viper and make her a lot better in the game, or have a place among her fellow controller characters. Now, the GameLeap website has in-depth mechanical guides, positioning, game sense, psychological guides. We have everything you need to climb the ladder in the GameLeap website. So do yourself a favor, if you want to climb the ranks with ease, go check it out in the links down below, and I can't wait to see you there. But that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time.